Hey guys. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about decision making, good decision making skills, because I was talking about that quite a bit and my storage kept going out and everything on my phone. So I want to continue to talk about that because I think that it is a topic that is a big topic, and you could break decision making skills down so small, right? There's so many components and things that go into making good decisions, right? And different types of good decisions, right? One thing I mentioned in my past videos when I was talking about gaining confidence in particular was part of gaining confidence or having more self-confidence is making good decisions, or jumping out and making decisions to the best of your ability. And each time you are more successful or you have success in those decisions, it will help to build your confidence. Okay, so I'm trying to link or connect the dots if you have watched my past videos that I've posted the past few days. Okay, so again, I'm talking about specifically about building your confidence. And to do that, right, there's a lot of different techniques and things you can do to build your confidence, right? And if you look that up here on YouTube, you're going to find lots of really good ideas. What I'm specifically kind of going into is kind of what goes into prior or as you are exercising different decision making skills, or as you are growing into adulthood or manhood or womanhood. I have boys, so I would say manhood, but basically the more you give yourself opportunity, or the more that you have opportunity to make good decisions, right, or any decision, each time you'll gain confidence. Because even if you make a bad decision, right, let's say for example let's say as a kid you picked out a goldfish. Okay, you made the decision that you wanted a pet, and you decided, I'll get a goldfish for whatever reasons. Let's say, when I say as a child, I don't know, young child or whatever, and you decided to get a goldfish. And then when you get the goldfish, you think you've made a great decision, you have a pet, and you're going to do the right thing by feeding it and caring for it so you can show your parents that you are very responsible, right? And what do? You overfeed the goldfish, right? You put too much, you get overzealous and you kill the goldfish, right? And you might think at that point, especially if it happens really soon, you might be thinking like, wow, I made a bad decision on getting a goldfish, right? Or who knows, whatever. But the thing is, if you think about that, right, the next time you go and decide to get a pet, another pet, maybe another fish or something, you will have a little bit more confidence in what not to do. Okay? It's like, well, I don't think I want a goldfish. I want a different fish. Let me see if I can find one that, is harder to kill. It's harder to overfeed or whatever. Or maybe you just decide to get something else. Why? Because you are confident in your ability to kill goldfish, right? Or at least in what you did. So you now know what not to do, right? But that decision, okay, gave you the opportunity to make a decision and to now assess whether or not it was good or not, and what to do next time or what not to do, right? And so you feel more confident the next go around. Even if you do get another goldfish, right? You're like, okay, well, I'm only going to feed the fish once a day now instead of 3 or 4 times a day or whatever, right? That's what I mean. So basically, when you give yourself opportunity to make different decisions, especially when you're younger in life, you start to build your muscle, your confidence muscles in different things. It's kind of like, well, if you're a young man or something and you dated a one particular type of girl, or maybe a girl of one religion or this particular religion, or maybe a girl from this side of town or whatever, right? whatever experience you had or you gained in taking that girl out to dinner or whatever that dating experience was like, when it ended, likely you feel a little bit more confident about, you know, what to maybe look for the next go round. You know, like, let's say you dated somebody who, let's say you met somebody and you're a young man and you met somebody who you think you really like, and she says in the very beginning, I'm about to go to college, you know, like, I don't think it's a good idea for us to, you know, get attached or whatever, or to date or something, because I'm about to go to college and, you know, I've got XYZ dreams and stuff and yada yada, right? And you just really try to convince this girl that, you know, you really like her, and you still kind of like force the issue, or you know, you just kind of push her into seeing her, and you guys kind of start dating. But you know that this girl has told you her plans, and maybe in the back of your mind you're hoping it'll still work out or something, right? But when that girl who never got attached decides to go ahead and execute her plans that she already said from the very beginning, I'm going to go to college or whatever, okay, and now you're heartbroken. Now you're like, oh my God, her college is out of state or whatever, right? And so now you're like, why did I do that? Like, why did I fell in love with somebody, you know, who I already knew couldn't really have long-term plans with me, because she already told me what her plans were, but I still, you know, pushed forward and got attached, right? So now it's kind of like, okay, I got experience with doing that. Next time I'm going to make sure that anybody I date is like, she has plans to stay around here, right? So now you have a little bit more confidence when it comes to that right there. Like, you know, that type of situation. You'll look at that as like, okay, I need to take that in consideration. I don't want to get attached. Okay? So that's what I mean in general, that the more and more you make decisions and the more and more experience that you get under your belt. So it doesn't matter how old you are. It depends on how much experience you have. Right? And so the more experience you have with relationships, for example, you start to learn and understand that it's not about how much time you spend with somebody to see whether or not that they are the right one for you, but it's about how many experiences have you gone through with that person to see how do they react in those experiences. How do they react under pressure? How do they react when, you know, it's time to pay bills? How do they react when, you know, things are good? How do they react, let's say, when things are calm and you want to go to the lake and you want to have a romantic time with your mate, and you say, take me to the water, take me to the lake, and, you know, you go there and you want to have a romantic time, but he reacts like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to get my feet wet, you know, I don't know about being here at the lake, I don't like the lake, you know, or something, right? Like, go through experiences with that person. The more experiences you get a chance to go through with them, and you see how they respond in all these experiences, like my mom used to always say, with money, without money, you know, like in good times and in bad times, right? Like, the more experiences you get a chance to be with a person, to kind of see them, right? How they handle everything, how they handle when, you know, they get bad news, or how they handle when they get good news. Like, do they just, you know, as soon as everything is going good, do they kind of like leave you alone? Like, they don't call you as much or whatever, because it's almost like they only need you or they only want to be around you when they really need something. But when they got plenty, or whenever things are going good, you don't hear from them, they call that a fair weather friend, or a fair weather boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, right? Like, in other words, you can tell that person's trying to use you, right? So the reason why I'm expressing this and sharing this in general, just in general, in life in general, the more experiences that you go through, and that you have to make decisions through, and then you have to reap the consequences to those decisions, good or bad, right? Good or bad, the more times you have to do that, the more opportunity you have given yourself to build your confidence. So if you've been very sheltered as a kid, or if you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or whatever, and you just never, you don't know what it's like to be so broke that you have to use, you know, bar soap to brush your teeth. You'd like, I've never heard of that. Actually, they do that in countries all over the place. Third world countries and countries that are poor, They don't get toothpaste. Toothpaste is a luxury. They use bar soap to brush their teeth. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the more opportunity you get in your life and that things that you go through is going to build your confidence in certain things. Now, if you go through an experience where you are in a relationship with somebody who specifically broke down your confidence or broke you down, basically verbally or emotionally abused you, right? Whether they intended to or not, some people are just by default kind of negative, and some people by default, because of the way they were raised, they don't know how to build anybody up. They don't know how to edify anybody. They've never heard of that. They don't know how to breathe life into anybody, or they don't know how to see the positive. So if you were raised with a mother who always saw negative, or didn't allow you to speak your mind, or just didn't build you up, right? You likely didn't attract a woman like that either. That's by default the likelihood. You likely attracted something or someone similar. Okay, and so you might end up in your 30s or 40s and wonder why you don't have a lot of self-confidence. Or maybe you even have low self-esteem, right? And it could be because by default, the men, women, or whoever around you that you have willingly placed into your life are the type of people who chip away at you, chip away at your confidence. They'll chip away by saying little things, anything from calling you names, or you never can get this right. I mean, something as simple as, I remember in one relationship, right, and I asked my person to go he asked me if I needed anything from the store. He was going to the store, and I said, almond milk. I just need almond milk. That was the only thing I was missing, right? And I mean, he went to town. He went grocery shopping. He bought a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know who he thought he was feeding exactly, but anyway, he bought a lot of stuff, right? And he came home with all these things, and I was actually out doing things too. So when I came home, anyway, I saw all these groceries in the bags and all these things, but I was like, okay, did you get the almond milk? And that's what he forgot. The one thing I asked him for, he forgot, right? And yet he got all this other stuff. I mean, I think it was easily $200 worth of groceries, right? And so immediately, for me, what I'm thinking in my mind, right, immediately, that's based on the fact, because of, this is not my first rodeo, and because of the way I was raised, and because of the training and the things that I have put myself through, I know that this is an opportunity that I can either break a person down, right, and make him feel bad for being forgetful, or I can use this as an opportunity to let him build a little bit of trust in me, like that I'm not gonna, jump down his throat. Okay, so I only know that because this isn't my first rodeo, because I'm not a starter wife. Okay, and I know that the Bible talks about the woman in Proverbs. She doesn't break her own household down, she builds her household up. So in that moment, what I did when he said that, I said, oh, it's okay, honey, I'll go and get it, or we get it tomorrow when we're out. It's no problem. I appreciate you getting all of this. You at least remembered all this over here, and this is great. Thank you. I appreciate you. And told him I still love him. Like, I love you. I love you. Don't worry. Right? Because it's an opportunity. You have a choice. You can do one or the other. A smart woman, and especially a mature woman, or a woman who's already kind of understands this, right? She's going to take opportunities in those moments, and that's what it is, an opportunity to grow, to edify and build up, and to not chip away at his confidence. Because when you say things like, you always forget, you never can get anything right, oh my God, I asked you for one thing and you couldn't even come home with that, or oh, now I gotta go do it myself, I'm so mad, oh, you always let me down, you always blah blah blah, all these things, right? Okay, when you read on relationship stuff and everything, and you also experience relationships, and you get a chance to kind of pivot, right? Let's say you were that type of a way or whatever, and then you learn better and you do better and you start to pivot, and then you see the results of pivoting and changing your approach, right? And you see the benefits, and you're like, whoa, okay, that's good. Like, right away you're like, That's the way I need to go, because I see good benefits and a good outcome when I talk to him like this. When I show respect, when I show him that, I want him to take the lead, and I'm, okay with him taking the lead, or, I don't have to be on his business or whatever, right? Like when you see that, right? So the point is that if you have experienced a relationship where, it was a lot of mental and emotional abuse, or if you got out of a relationship and you feel like you need counseling, or you feel like you need to go sit in the corner and lick your wounds for a while or something like that, it's because you were, broke down in this relationship. You are not coming out better. You're coming out worse. Like, you feel worse. You don't feel better. Okay. Nonetheless, if that has happened to you, and you feel like your self-esteem has actually dropped, has actually gone down since you were in that relationship, take time to reflect why. I was eating an apple. Take time to reflect why. And also take time to reflect, how long did you stay with that person? Why did you stay that long with that person, or whatever? And then also, figure out, did that person remind you of a family member, a mother or a father or something like that, right? So when you take time to reflect, right? And then you can kind of assess, I tend to attract narcissists, or people who lack empathy, or people who are controlling, or people who are loud, or people who are haughty, or people who are prideful. I tend to attract these type of people, or whatever, right? And every time I come away from that type of energy, I feel worse. I don't feel very good. Like, I feel less than. I don't feel very smart, or I feel stupid, or I'm made to feel, or I second guess myself, or whatever, right? Okay, so if you just take time to think like that, like, think, how am I feeling when I come away from that person's energy, or these type of people, or whatever, right? And it might be time to pivot, okay? Because, like I said, you might end up in your 30s, 40s, maybe even 50s, and realize, like, wow, I have low self-esteem, or maybe I have low self-confidence. And, it's like, you want to get to the bottom of that. It could have something, to do with your childhood. It could just be in the relationship, your last relationship that you were in, or maybe it was in the fact that the last job that you had, you got fired because you weren't doing it good, right? And so now you've lost confidence in your ability to do that particular work. And maybe that isn't the right work for you. Or maybe it was low effort, or something that, like, you got to reflect, right? Like, why did I get fired? Was it because I was late all the time? Or was it because my work was actually bad? Was it an abilities type of situation? Like, what was the real reason why, right? And so I'm saying this to say that all of this can affect your self-confidence. All of this can affect how you show up in life the next go around with the next, situation that you have, or the next relationship that you have, or the next marriage that you have, the next job that you have, the next car that you get, right? Different things. It all depends on your confidence, and how you utilize the last experience that you had. Some people decide to grow from their experiences. Now, some people, like myself, I'm the type of person that, how do I say this? I don't want to say I don't want to say I thrive, but I kind of thrive on being challenged, okay? Because I'm for the most part, I know my role, and I have agreed to the Christian walk and the Christian wife, and understanding, my role and my place. I've agreed to that willingly, because I'm a baptized Christian, right? But I'm also a firstborn. I'm also very headstrong. And I can be very feisty, right? And so I'm kind of the person that I might come off or appear very nice or very sweet, especially to somebody who is either not a Christian or has never actually experienced a Christian woman who knows how to balance and willingly balances her roles, okay? And understands, like, letting men speak when they're in the room, and when you letting men take the lead. And it's not a matter of a weakness for me. It's a decision for me. It has been for many years that I decide to yield a lot. Okay. But when I'm backed in the corner, or I am challenged, or somebody says negative things to me, right? Because of the way I was raised in a very positive way, and I was raised with a lot of self-confidence, with people around me giving me, positive feedback. And also I felt a lot of love in my environment. My grandmother loved me, my grandfather loved me, my dad loved me, my mother loved me. And for many years, I was an only child until I was almost 5, and my world was full of adults who all loved me, right? And so I really do have naturally self-esteem. But if you don't really know that about me, or you don't really know me, or you don't know my background, you don't know the things that I have been through, the things that I've done, the things that I've accomplished, or whatever, and you just meet me and I am willingly being quiet, let's say in situations when I see that there are men, or elders in the congregation, or different people, I'm letting them take the lead, or in general, because of certain things like that, where I understand my role as a Christian and different things, that you've never seen me in any other kind of capacity, right? You've definitely not seen me in a leadership role, and you've never really seen me when I am challenged, right? So what I mean by that is, when I come under attack, or when somebody wants to say something nasty to me, first of all, if, for example, for me, the way my confidence is set up and the way that I'm set up, if I even assign that person any value at all, I'll address it. So what I mean by that is, if I assign that person 0 value in my life, I don't even address them. I won't even talk to them. I will literally be like, you're a 0, and that's it. Control, delete, right? Delete. Like, if this is somebody who is just randomly, or just wants to say something negative, or they are literally a nothing burger in my life, they literally mean nothing to me, they don't pay my bills, they don't, they're not a family member, they're not anything, I don't even assign them any of my time. I won't even really respond. Okay? Because I've had to gain thick skin from young, when I was young, and people who just want to be jealous girls, especially mean girls, like at school, the mean girls, I was not a mean girl. But I experienced mean girl behavior like other people, right? It didn't bother me. And I literally would it initially hurt me, right? But I let that go. So, and I learned to be like, you're a 0 in my mind and in my life. That's how I see them, a 0. And, I won't even give them any time. I won't even mull over anything that they say. Now, let's say you are somebody important to me. Let's say you are a spouse. Okay, let's just say you are a spouse, right? And again, especially if you're not used to dating women who are loving, or who go above and beyond to show love and respect in the marriage, and also a woman who willingly submits to the headship, okay? If you may, kind of think to yourself, this person is a softie, or she's very nice, or you may think, she is a pushover, or just in general, I can get away with a lot of stuff because she's a Christian, right? And I can even maybe call her names or whatever, right? Because, women are not supposed to talk back, or, not supposed to, show disrespect or whatever. So let's just say I have a spouse who said something to me like, you always get blah, blah, blah wrong, and you always have money problems. You can't pay bills to save your life, or you can't, manage money well at all, or you don't know how to manage no money, or you can't hold a job, or you always have excuses, or something nasty or negative, right? And maybe I'm just coming up with something like, what if, basically, if you want to just say something negative, right? Like, you're just basically defaulting to, for example, let's say I forgot to pay the water bill. Okay, let's just say that, right? Like, oops, I forgot to pay the water bill, or maybe I was supposed to pay the water bill and I didn't do it. I was a day late, or something like that. And my spouse, instead of using the opportunity as a way to grow your trust and respect, right? Oh, it's okay, honey. Let's do better next month. Or, is there anything I can do to help you to remember? Do we need to get like calendars? Like what should we do or whatever, right? Like, okay, so there's an opportunity to speak nice, respectful, right? And make it so that she doesn't feel scared to tell you things, right? Or he or she. Or by default, because of the way you were raised or because of who you are, or you're narcissistic or you're controlling or whatever, and you want to just say whatever, which is like, you're so stupid. You always do that. You never can pay. You always forget to pay bills, or you don't make enough money, or you need to make more money, or, you're just not good at that, or you always have an excuse for something and I can't rely on you for nothing. Oh my God. Basically, and you give that person attitude, right? Or you accuse them, For me, I take things like that as a challenge. What I mean by that is I take energy when people kick negative energy, and this has happened several times to me in my life, where someone, very specifically gave me very negative, nasty feedback or energy, or misconstrued something and mistook me for being a pushover, or, just someone nice who will never blah, 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 who doesn't know how to stand up for themselves, right? And that's unfortunate, because I take that energy right away and I use it as fuel. That's how I've always been. My entire life, I've always been that way. I've always been that way. I take it as a challenge. I use it as fuel to get better, to get back, to make them eat their words, okay? And on top of that, you only got so many opportunities to do that to me before, and you're going to know about it, right? But I will remove myself out of your energy, because I'm not going to allow that kind of speech to me, right? Because that's where my confidence level puts me. To me, if I can see that you have a habit of being nasty, right? I can forgive you a few times. Why? Because we're supposed to be forgiving. But when I see that this is habitual, and that this is going to be a continuous chipping away at whatever, because you think you can get away with that, right? When because I've been challenged, or I have basically been pushed in a corner, right? My fangs come out. And this is where people get me wrong all the time, because I am very nice, right? And I don't ever seek to cause conflict or problems or anything like that. Like argue. I don't argue. But when my fangs come out and you see like firstborn, bossy, I could do it myself, don't challenge me, that comes out. Or, that side of me, right? Because, see, I am confident, right? And I willingly maybe submit, or willingly don't argue or keep quiet during different times, because I have learned the art of that right there. Like, there is a time and a place, right? Because of that, most of the time, I have literally experienced and have heard men say to me, and have had other people say to me, and they thought, they didn't think that I would ever, have the guts or whatever to prove them wrong, right? In whichever way. But you see, for me, it's because you made my fangs come out. And once you make my fangs come out, you're no longer a safe person for me to be around. I don't want to be around you. It's like, if I have to defend myself, and you're supposed to be either my partner in anything, work or business, work or relationship or family, anything. If you make my fangs come out, not only will I fight and use that energy for better, and I will use that energy to make you literally eat your words, okay? But I also remove myself. You won't have me in your energy, right? You just won't see me, because it'll be like you showed yourself to me. That's where my confidence, right? This is where my self-confidence does for me. This is where it puts me. It puts me in sometimes a fighting spirit, okay? Because I know what I'm capable of. I know who I am. I know and I know when I seek to always build up somebody else, and they're over here trying to seek to break me down in some sort of way or whatever. No, it just doesn't work for me. Like, for me, my confidence level will not drop down so low to let me stay and deal with that. It makes me, or it activates me to, bring out the fight in me. Okay. And then it's like, who is this person? I never need to be like that. Or I didn't think you would ever, because, Christian women and you're so sweet and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But you made me bring my fangs out, and now you made me fight for whatever and defend myself or whatever. And it's like, you did that. You had that choice. Now, other people, and then I'm bringing this up and I'm sharing this because I say this because, again, I've been talking a lot about, like, how come two women, let's say two women, both married to, let's say, brothers who are very similar in their, because they were raised in the same household, so they're very similar in their style of relationship, right? Two women married to two brothers, let's say, I'm just giving an example, both similar in their way of showing love and in their way of showing up in relationships, okay? One woman will stay around and stay married with the same treatment that the other one does, that the other woman literally hightails it out. The other woman is like, nope, this is not okay for my self-esteem. This behavior is unacceptable. I'm out. Both women are Christian women. Let's say both women have the same values, right? Or let's say you're a child, again, even as a child, and you are dealing with the same type of situation, same type of thing, but, let's say you were molested as a child. One child comes out, I don't say having a lot of issues, and maybe they don't trust, they see the world have negative, they have issues with, having relations in their physical relations in their future relationships or whatever. And then the other person who experienced the same type of thing came out a little bit more healthier, a little bit more knowledgeable, healthier, and with defenses, knowing what to look for in certain people, but is okay to move on in relationships, and is okay to, doesn't have a problem with having physical relations, or that situation, or that toxic behavior or molestation or whatever they experience, that the two people experience. The one person is going about through life and has her confidence still intact. What is the difference? Like, what is the difference when it was the same act on women of similar, ages and all of that? The difference usually lies, or children or whatever, the difference usually lies in the parents you had. And the type of parents you had that either edified you and built you up and allowed you a safe space to speak, to talk, to share your feelings, and validated your feelings, like sincerely validated your feelings, and also helped you to feel confident in your next moves from there, right? Like, in other words, if you had parents who understood, like, okay, the importance of, like, oh, you know what, little Sally had a situation with this boy at school, and I need to make sure that Sally understands what's going on here. I may need to put Sally in counseling or whatever, right? And so therefore, Sally, if anything, comes out a little bit stronger, because now her antennas know, ooh, I need to be careful with this type of person because they tend to cross boundaries, right? So Sally actually is like a little stronger because of it, but the other one, she continues to probably have issues, or she continues to attract that type of a person, or, she has lower self-esteem, or, she has problems in her relationships, or she don't trust people. She doesn't trust all men are bad, or all men are this or that or whatever. Okay. And so she has anger issues or whatever. Same thing. Like I said, if you have two women who are married to brothers, for example, and one who will stay and put up with all kinds of treatment, and one who is like, no, I'm not putting up with that. That's toxic. That behavior is toxic. And, they both are doing the same. Both these men are doing the same thing. They both show up in very similar ways in their relationship. Okay. But it's like one woman says, nope, not dealing with that. And the other woman says, oh, I'm going to give him another chance. Oh, I'm going to give him another chance. Okay. So it's also activating your decision making, and you'll either have confidence in your decision that you're making, or you won't. Right? And so I always find that to be interesting, and a lot of it has to do with the way you were raised as a child, or how healed you are in general, as far as connecting the dots and whatnot. Okay, now, if you use discernment, right, and you might decide, well, as a Christian, let's say, for example, we're supposed to, like, we all know we're supposed to be forgiving of our brothers and sisters. So, like, if you're a Christian, I'm gonna give you an example. It says, Matthew 18, 21, it says, then Peter came and said to him, Lord, how many times is my brother to sin against me and I am to forgive him? Up to 77 times? Jesus said to him, I say to you, not up to 77 times, or not up to, no, he said up to 7 times. Jesus said, I say to you, not up to 7 times, but up to 77 times. Okay? So again, Peter came and said to him, Lord, how many times do I have to forgive my wife? Right? Or if we're saying, oh, Lord, how many times do I have to forgive this husband of mine? How many times? 7 times? Please tell me how many times so I can hurry up and be done, right? And Jesus said to him, no, not up to 7 times, up to 77 times. So he said that on purpose, that the point was to hone in that we are supposed to exercise forgiveness, right? Because we want God to forgive us. And we are going to need to be forgiving literally endless amount of times, right? Endless amount of times. But discernment, when you use your discernment, your judgment, which also takes confidence, self-confidence, right? You'll need to discern at what point is what you're forgiving are you going to continue to allow over and over and over again in your energy field. So it's like, for example, let's just say, for example, your husband berates you, he calls you nasty names, right? And he says something to you like that, like, you always forget to pay whatever bill or something, and you are nothing but a blah, 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 right? Okay. And so it's like, how many times do you allow that situation to happen and for him to talk to you like that, right? Like, it's like, do we literally have to go up to 77 times, or what? Do we just have to accept that treatment? Discernment, exercising discernment, and when you read the scriptures and everything, discernment shows you, right, that the answer is you always forgive. You always forgive. Forgiveness is for the person who was wronged. When we forgive, it helps us to relieve the energy out of our body, right? So we can forgive. We always forgive. But forgiveness does not actually mean allowing that person to do that to you over and over